There's a moment that almost all of us have experienced. When you wake up one morning, rush to drive to work, gulp down your coffee, and spend the whole day doing a job that no longer excites you. All just to earn a paycheck that seems to disappear before you even touch it, swallowed by bills, loans, and the same familiar expenses. People around you say, "You're doing fine. You have an income, a home, a car. You're not exactly poor." But deep down, you know, something isn't right. Money, the thing that's supposed to bring freedom, has somehow become a burden. It's not that you don't have money, it's that you no longer feel joy when it comes to money. Okoroafor calls this the silent exhaustion of modern life. We were taught how to earn money, how to spend it, but never how to be happy with it. We're great at working, but clumsy when it comes to peace. The book, Financial Joy, doesn't teach you how to get rich quick or make risky investments. It's a 10-week journey to help you heal your relationship with money, to stop living in fear and start living in financial joy. Because maybe the real issue was never how much money we have, but how we understand and use money to feel truly happy. Imagine that in just 10 weeks, you could feel calm when opening your banking app, proud when spending your money, and free when planning your future. That's what financial joy is all about. And today, we'll walk through it, week by week, to explore this 10-week journey that takes you from financial anxiety to genuine joy with money. Week 1. Facing your financial reality. Okoroafor begins his 10-week journey with something that sounds simple, yet it's the challenge most of us avoid: facing the truth. Not the truth about how much we earn, but the truth about how we live with money. Many of us say, "I'm fine. I pay my bills, I have a job." But when the lights go out, when silence fills the room, a small voice inside whispers, "Why do I still feel so anxious?" Ken shares that he lived with that feeling for years. As a Nigerian immigrant living in the UK, he and his wife worked hard, had degrees, stable jobs, yet they constantly felt emotionally drained and financially stressed. Every time payday came, the money vanished, as if there was a hole in their pocket. He realized that most of us don't truly know where we stand. We know the numbers in our bank account, but not what they mean. We know how much we owe, but we don't want to look at it. And we spend money without realizing that every purchase is a vote for the kind of life we're choosing to live. In the first week of Financial Joy, Ken gives a task that sounds dry but holds incredible power. Write everything down. Every source of income, every expense, every debt. No judgment, no shame, just the truth. Because, as he says, you can't change what you can't see. This is the week of financial awakening. Not to blame yourself for past decisions, but to open your eyes and truly see how you've been living with money. Ken describes the moment he and his wife first sat down together, opened an Excel sheet, and saw their entire year of spending laid bare. It wasn't pleasant. It was painful. But that moment, they realized, we've been living on money we haven't actually earned yet. That wasn't just a financial lesson, it was a lesson in honesty. So in this first week, Ken doesn't teach you how to make more money, nor how to invest it. He teaches you to face your reality. Because clarity is the first step to freedom. When you understand where you are, only then can you decide where you want to go. And when you dare to face the real numbers, you begin your journey toward true financial joy. Week 2. Building a Financial Joy Mindset.
If week 1 was about looking into the mirror, then week 2 is about changing how you see yourself in it. Ken Okoroafor says, "Most of us don't have a problem with money. We have a problem with what we believe about money." For many years, he believed that money was something you had to fight for, chase after, and control at all costs. He grew up in an immigrant family where the saying was, "You have to work twice as hard to get half as much." That belief, though filled with determination, planted a quiet seed of fear, the fear that money is always about to disappear. And when you're afraid of losing money, you can never truly enjoy it. Week 2 of Financial Joy isn't about making more money. It's about thinking differently about money. Because every financial plan eventually fails if your mindset is still chained by fear and guilt. Ken shares that he has worked with hundreds of Americans who earn well, some with high salaries and stable lives, yet they live under constant financial pressure. They believe that happiness will come once the debt is gone, once they have 6 months of savings, once their salary increases. But when those things finally happen, they still don't feel any happier. Why? Because they're still living with a scarcity mindset. They see money as something to guard, not as a tool to build a meaningful life. Ken calls this the subtle trap of false abundance. We assume that having more money will make us worry less, but if your mindset doesn't change, your worries will simply wear a more expensive suit. To build a mindset of financial joy, Ken introduces 3 small but powerful shifts. 1. Practice gratitude before you spend. Before you swipe your card, ask yourself, will this spending make my life richer in a meaningful way? A dinner with family might be worth more than thousands spent just to impress others. 2. Separate your identity from your balance sheet. You are not your bank account. Your worth isn't measured by your balance sheet. When you understand this, you stop fearing not enough, because you start living from a place of enough. 3. See money as a tool for meaning. Ken writes, when money stops being the center, it starts to serve you. He and his wife began prioritizing goals that brought real joy, supporting immigrant communities, teaching their kids gratitude, and investing time in each other. And here lies the biggest lesson of week 2. Financial joy doesn't come from how much you have, but how you feel and what you do with it. Ask yourself this: if you didn't earn another dollar tomorrow, could you still feel at peace with what you have today? If your answer is not quite, then this is your moment to start again, with a new belief. Money isn't a battle to be won, it's a relationship to be healed. Week 3. Eliminating debt strategically. Nothing steals joy faster than an unpaid debt. It's not just a number on a statement, it's a quiet shadow that hangs over every dream. Ken Okoroafor once said, "Debt is a prison without bars. It makes you wake up every morning feeling like you're still not enough." He's been there. A father, a husband, with a steady job, but a credit card that was always flashing red. Every month he made payments just to keep it quiet, but never truly got out of it. And that loop, spending, regretting, repaying, then spending again, became the rhythm of a life stuck on repeat. Week 3 of Financial Joy is the week of liberation, but not the dramatic, cut up your credit cards kind of liberation. It's liberation through strategy. Ken believes that escaping debt doesn't require a miracle. It requires a smart plan and a new belief. Debt is not a destiny, it's a phase. He breaks this process into 3 steps, each one not just a tactic, but a way to reclaim control of your life. Step 1. Face the full picture of your debt. Ken tells the story of an American woman named Rachel, who once had 8 different debts: credit cards, student loans, and a car loan. She had never listed them all together because even thinking about it made her dizzy. But when Ken guided her to write down every amount, every interest rate, every due date, she cried. Not because the number was too big, but because for the first time she could finally see what she was fighting against. Clarity isn't comfortable, but it's the first step to freedom. If you don't know who you owe and how much, you'll live in confusion, and confusion is fertile ground for fear. Step 2. Choose your strategy, snowball or avalanche. Ken doesn't believe in one-size-fits-all formulas. He says you need to choose a repayment method that fits your psychology. The snowball method. Pay off the smallest debt first. Each win gives you momentum to keep going. The avalanche method. Attack the debt with the highest interest rate first. You'll save more money in the long run. For Ken, there's no right or wrong approach, only the one that keeps you moving forward. He encourages readers to turn debt repayment into a ritual of victory, not punishment. Each debt you eliminate is a step toward joy, not a punishment for past mistakes. Step 3. Rebuild your relationship with money. Ken says, if you pay off your debt but never change your mindset, it'll come back, just in a different form. Many people, after becoming debt-free, end up right back where they started, because deep down, they're still using money to fill emotional gaps, loneliness, insecurity, or social pressure. Ken suggests creating a new rule. Before any major purchase, ask yourself, does this serve my freedom or take it away? If it takes, stop. If it serves, spend with gratitude, not guilt, not excess. Week 3 ends with an emotional exercise. Write a letter or a journal entry to your former self, the version of you who lived in fear and debt. Thank them for surviving and promise that from today you'll live differently. Because clearing debt, as Ken reminds us, isn't just about paying money back to the bank, it's about paying peace back to yourself.
Weeks 4 to 5. Growing income and saving smart. After learning to face the truth, reshape your mindset, and break free from debt, Ken Okoroafor guides us into a new phase, the phase of building. He says, financial freedom doesn't come from cutting back on expenses, but from expanding the value you can create. Many people think the way out of financial pressure is to save more, but Ken points out that saving alone won't save you if your income is still limited by fear. And on the other hand, even a high income won't save you if you spend unconsciously. Weeks 4 and 5 are about finding balance between earning and keeping, between growth and stability. Week 4, growing income, not just working more, but thinking differently. Ken tells the story of his friend Marcus, a software engineer in Atlanta earning over $100,000 a year, yet still living paycheck to paycheck. Marcus used to think, there's no way I can make more. So Ken asked him one simple question. If your income were cut in half tomorrow, would you figure out a way to survive? Marcus went silent. Then Ken said, so why do you think it's impossible to double it? To Ken, growing your income isn't about hustling harder, it's about expanding your value. He invites readers to explore 3 potential sources that anyone can tap into. 1. Your existing skills. What problems can your current abilities solve for others? Ken shares how he and his wife started The Humble Penny, a simple personal finance blog born from their experiences, which later became a second source of income and eventually a full-fledged business. 2. Your relationships. No one builds wealth alone. Ken emphasizes that talking to successful people isn't about asking for opportunities, but about learning how they think. If you want to change your wallet, change who sits at your dinner table. 3. Your time. Many say they don't have time to make extra money, yet spend hours every day scrolling through TikTok or Netflix. Ken calls this the paradox of our age. We have enough energy to scroll, but not enough to build. Week 5. Saving smart. Keeping money to serve joy. After learning how to earn, Ken moves to what he calls the art of keeping, saving with purpose. He recalls that when he was struggling financially, he used to see saving as sacrifice, as living less today for a better tomorrow. But over time, he realized the opposite. Saving is an act of love, a way of saying to yourself, I deserve a better future. Ken breaks saving into 3 layers, a simple framework that thousands of people have used to escape financial chaos. Layer 1, the safety fund. 3 to 6 months of living expenses. Not just to prepare for emergencies, but to buy peace of mind. When you have this cushion, you make decisions out of clarity, not fear. Layer 2, the opportunity fund. Ken calls this the fund that invests in you. A course, a tool, or even a small business idea, all can come from here. Saving isn't just to avoid risk, it's to be ready when opportunity knocks. Layer 3, the joy fund. This is Ken's favorite concept. He says, if you only save to pay bills, you'll forget what living means. Set aside a small amount for what makes you smile, a trip, a dinner date, a gift for your parents. Because joy isn't the reward at the end, it's the energy that fuels your journey. Ken closes these 2 weeks with a powerful truth. Growing your income teaches you how to create more. Saving smart teaches you how to appreciate more. But only when you learn both are you truly free. Weeks 4 and 5 aren't just about numbers. They're about reclaiming ownership of your life by earning with purpose and saving with gratitude.
Weeks 6 and 7 mark the next phase of Ken Okoroafor's journey to financial freedom, turning money into a tool that serves your future, not just a number sitting in your bank account. Ken emphasizes, money doesn't create value on its own, but if you place it in the right hands and the right places, it will work for you instead of you working for it your entire life. The trap of sleeping money. Many Americans fall into the same pattern. They earn money, park it in a checking account, or spend it on short-term pleasures, but never see their real wealth grow. Ken calls this the sleeping money trap. You think your money is safe, but in reality, time and inflation are quietly stealing its value. Investing, not to get rich fast, but to get free. Ken tells the story of Lisa, an office worker in Chicago. She used to fear investing, believing that only the wealthy could play the stock market. But after following Ken's guidance, she started small, just $50 a month into an index fund. A few years later, that small step became a meaningful source of wealth. More importantly, Lisa gained something money can't buy: confidence. She no longer feared money, she understood it. Ken teaches that investing isn't about gambling or chasing trends. It's about using the power of time, patience, and strategy to let money multiply for you. Every single investment is a small step toward your financial freedom. Building wealth, when money works for you. But Ken doesn't stop at stocks and bonds. He reminds us that true wealth isn't just financial. It's anything that builds lasting value. A new skill can raise your future earning potential. A meaningful relationship can open doors to new opportunities. And a consistent habit of mindful spending and saving becomes an invisible asset, one that shields you when life gets turbulent. Ken and his wife practiced what they taught. They dedicated a portion of their income to small but meaningful projects, turning a personal blog into an online course, and a small investment into an education fund for their children. Every dollar they invested served a purpose, creating value, freedom, and joy, not just a bigger number in the bank. Core lessons from weeks 6 and 7. Investing isn't about getting rich fast. It's about creating freedom and joy. True wealth serves your values and life goals, not social expectations. The journey to investing starts small, with consistency, clarity, and purpose. Ken closes these 2 weeks with a powerful reflection. When you turn money into assets, you're not just accumulating wealth, you're building confidence, peace of mind, and the power to choose. That's the true essence of financial joy.
Week 8 to 9, balancing life and money. If weeks 6 to 7 were about building wealth, then weeks 8 to 9 are about keeping balance. Ken Okoroafor reminds us that financial freedom without a fulfilled life is not freedom at all. He tells the story of Mark, a young entrepreneur in New York. Mark made great money, had a growing investment portfolio, and a healthy bank account, yet his family always felt distant. Late nights at the office, postponed vacations, and the constant fear of not having enough slowly stole away the simple joys, like warm dinners and laughter with his kids. Ken says, money only brings happiness when it serves your life, not when it controls it. In weeks 8 to 9, Ken teaches how to balance the 3 pillars of financial joy. 1. Money is a tool, not a goal. Every expense and every investment should answer one question: how does this serve my life? Ken reminds us that many Americans work tirelessly to earn money but forget to live. They chase numbers instead of values, and in that chase, joy quietly fades away. 2. Set boundaries for work and spending. Boundaries don't limit your opportunities, they protect your peace. Ken shares a personal habit. He and his wife dedicate 1 golden hour each evening. No devices, no emails, just time together with their kids. He calls it happiness investing, where the returns aren't measured in dollars, but in peace, presence, and connection. 3. Let saving and investing serve your lifestyle, not just your balance sheet. Once you've built your safety fund, opportunity fund, and joy fund, money stops being a source of pressure. It becomes a tool to live intentionally, to support your family, contribute to your community, and pursue lifelong passions. Ken shares the example of the Jensen family in Texas, who adopted his 3-layer savings system: a safety fund for emergencies, an opportunity fund for education and investments, a joy fund for moments that make life worth living. The result? They became not only financially stable, but emotionally free, closer, calmer, and happier than they'd ever been. Core lessons from weeks 8 to 9. Money is a means, not an end. Living intentionally with money helps you balance wealth creation with genuine enjoyment. Financial happiness isn't about being rich, it's about peace in your choices. Ken closes these 2 weeks with a powerful message. If you can balance wealth building with truly living each day, you'll realize that money was never the problem. The real challenge was how you chose to live with it. Week 10. Designing a financially free life. After 9 weeks of facing reality, reshaping your mindset, eliminating debt, growing income, saving wisely, investing, and balancing life, Week 10 marks the final step. Turning all those lessons into a lifestyle, into true joy with money. Ken Okoroafor emphasizes, financial joy isn't a destination, it's the way you move through each day with freedom, peace, and purpose. He tells the story of Maria, a teacher in California. Maria once struggled under student loan debt, worried about insufficient income, and felt out of control with money. But after following Ken's 10-week program, she not only paid off her debt, built her safety fund, and invested wisely, but she also redesigned her life. She now teaches free classes to children, travels with her family without anxiety, and lives each day with joy, with money serving her, not controlling her. Ken calls this financial freedom with joy, a state where money is a tool and you hold the reins. No more fear, no more stress every time you open your banking app. Only clarity, smart choices, and daily happiness remain. Core lessons from Week 10. Turn money into a tool that serves your life, not a source of worry. Design financial habits and principles that automatically support your values and happiness. Financial joy is a lifestyle, not a number on a bank statement. Ken concludes the journey with a powerful message. If you live each day with financial joy, you don't just change your bank account,
You change the experience of life itself. Create a life where money serves you, not the other way around. The 10-week journey of financial joy isn't just about numbers or bank balances. It's about freedom, about the joy of controlling your money instead of letting money control you. It's about peace of mind, confidence in your decisions, and the ability to live each day the way you truly want to. If you're ready to face reality, shift your mindset, and create the financial life you deserve, explore each step in Ken Okoroafor's book, Financial Joy. The link to purchase the book is in the description below. Start your journey today and learn not just to live adequately, but to live fully, freely, and joyfully with money.